My name is Emma. I am 26 years old. I live in a big city, but the city never feels like home. It is crowded, noisy, full of lights and voices, yet I live inside a silence that no one sees. I work as an artist, not a rich artist who paints great pictures for galleries. My work is simple, almost invisible. I paint small pictures, flowers on walls, signs for shop windows, little colors on doors that people pass by every day, but never really notice. My hands are always full of brushes and paint, and my clothes carry the smell of colors. The work is hard. The money is very small. Still, I wake up each day because this is all I have. I live alone. My parents died many years ago, leaving behind only memories that have become faint shadows. I have no brothers or sisters, no family, and no close friends. My life is one small room on the top floor of an old building. The room has one bed, one chair, one table, and a little fan that works slowly in summer heat. The walls are plain, the window is small, and the nights feel endless. I eat very simple food: rice, bread, sometimes soup when I can afford it. I do not go to restaurants, I do not buy new clothes, and I save every coin I can. Some days I skip dinner. Some nights, when the loneliness feels heavier than the air, I cry quietly. But every morning, I wipe my face, I pick up my brushes, and I walk out to work again. This is my life. The cold morning. One cold morning, I was painting a cafe window. The rain was falling fast. My old coat was soaked, and my hands trembled from the cold. I was almost done when the cafe door opened. A man walked in. He had gray hair, a long black coat, and eyes that looked tired but calm. He seemed about 65. He walked slowly, carefully, as though time itself was guiding his steps. He sat at a table near the door and looked out at the rain. Then he looked at me. Our eyes met for a moment. I looked away quickly. I had no wish to talk. People never noticed me, and I was used to silence. When I finished, I began cleaning my brushes. The man stood up and walked toward me. My heart beat faster, but when he spoke, his voice was soft and calm. "You look very tired," he said. I tried to smile. "It is just a long day," I answered quietly. He nodded. "You work very hard." Then he gave me a small smile, kind, gentle, almost fatherly, and walked away. A cup of tea. The next day, I was painting a wall near the same cafe. The rain had stopped, but the air was still cold. As I worked, I noticed the same man walking down the street. He saw me. He smiled. Something inside me wanted to smile back, and I did. He lifted his hand in a small wave, then went inside the cafe. A few minutes later, he came back out holding a small cup of hot tea. He walked slowly toward me. "This is warm," he said, offering the cup. "You can drink it." For a moment, I did not know what to say. No one ever brought me tea. No one ever thought about me like this. I took the cup carefully. "Thank you," I whispered. He smiled again, that same soft smile, and walked away. I stood there, holding the tea. It was sweet, it was warm, and it was more than just tea. It was kindness, a kindness I had not felt for years. Bread and flowers. The next day, he came again. This time, he brought me tea and a small piece of bread. "You need to eat," he said simply. I felt shy. I wanted to say many things, but only managed, "Thank you." He smiled, nodded, and left. That day, he told me his name, Robert. From then on, Robert came to see me every day, sometimes with tea, sometimes with bread, sometimes with little flowers from his garden. He never asked me hard questions. He never made me feel afraid. He never asked for anything in return. He was just kind. I began to wait for him each day. While I painted, I would glance at the cafe door again and again, hoping to see him. And when he came, my heart felt a strange warmth. I did not know why. He was much older than me, old enough to be my father. But his voice was gentle, his eyes were warm, and his presence felt like safety. The conversation. One afternoon, Robert sat with me on a wooden chair outside the cafe. The sun was pale, the street quiet. He looked serious, and my heart began to beat fast. "Emma," he said softly, "I want to talk to you." I looked at him, my hands cold. "You live alone. You have no family. You work hard every day. Life is very hard for you." I lowered my eyes. I could not speak. "I want to help you," he said. I looked up, confused. "Why?" He smiled a little. "Because I care about you. Because I see you." The words struck me deeply. No one had ever said they cared about me. No one had ever said they saw me. For years, I had been invisible. People passed me by like I was part of the walls I painted. But Robert saw me. A new chapter. From that day, our connection grew. Robert would sit with me while I worked. He told me little stories about his past, about the flowers in his garden, about his late wife who had died many years ago. His voice was calm, his words gentle. I began to share small pieces of my life with him, my childhood, my parents, my lonely nights. He listened without judgment. Sometimes he brought me warm soup from the cafe. Sometimes he gave me books he had read. And always, always he smiled with the same kindness. I began to wait for him each day. While I painted, I would glance at the cafe door again and again, hoping to see him. And when he came, my heart felt a strange warmth. I did not know why. He was much older than me, old enough to be my father. But his voice was gentle, his eyes were warm, and his presence felt like safety. The truth inside. At night in my small room, I thought about him. I asked myself why my heart felt so different. He was old, much older than me. The world would never understand. But my heart did not care about numbers. My heart cared about kindness. My heart cared about being seen. And Robert, he saw me. I realized that in this huge, noisy city where millions of people rushed past each other, only one man had stopped to notice me. Only one man had given me warmth when I was cold, food when I was hungry, flowers when my world was empty. Hope. One evening, as the sun set behind the buildings, Robert placed a small bunch of flowers on my table. He looked at me, his eyes kind but serious. "Emma," he said. "Life has been unkind to you, but you are strong. I see beauty in your work, in your heart, in the way you keep going even when it's hard. I don't want you to feel alone anymore." Tears filled my eyes. I could not speak. For the first time in years, I felt hope. Real hope. I did not know what the future would bring. I did not know if the world would accept the bond between a young woman and an old man. But in that moment, I knew something simple and true. Kindness is love, and love is life.